Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to have a look at a ridiculous New Year's promotion, which is going on in Hong Kong and Taiwan. We are talking about traditional Chinese territories here for the Pokémon TCG, and I am extremely jealous. And you should be extremely jealous too. You know, the other day I showed you these first partner blisters which are coming out, which is how Hong Kong are distributing the illustration rares of the Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Charmander, as well as the alternate art EXs of Charizard, Blastoise and Venusaur. Well, it turns out they've got another promotion going on, just in case it wasn't cool enough that you could buy these blisters in the first place. If you spend 88 Hong Kong dollars, or you spend 350 Taiwanese dollars, you get yourself one of these packs. It does actually stack up, so if you spend 350 Taiwanese dollars, you get one, but if you spend 700 Taiwanese dollars, you get two. I don't believe you have to do it in different transactions. I believe it is for every, not for every transaction of at least, which I like very much indeed. And these are awesome. And I want them, ladies and gentlemen. I want them very much indeed. Yeah. If anyone genuinely here, if anyone is over in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and is able to hook me up with this stuff, I would be delighted because, oh my word, I want these very, very badly. But basically, you get one of these, and I believe it's one card per pack, and there are 9 different cards that are available, starting with Koraidon and Miraidon. Now, a couple of things you'll notice straight away here. Firstly, these are the Koraidon and Miraidon I showed you the other day. These are the new Koraidon and Miraidon from Cyber, Judge and Wild Force, the cards that we're going to be getting in Temporal Forces. They're also ridiculously good cards. I am genuinely convinced, and I told you this the other day and I'll tell you again now, I am absolutely convinced that both of these cards are genuinely brilliant. The Koraidon is the one that I'm going to be playing more, I believe, because I'm all in on Ancient Pokemon. I've told you that already. And basically, for 2 energy, that does 30 damage for each of your Ancient Pokemon in play. Not your benched Pokemon, all of your Ancient Pokemon in play, which means this in the active, 5 on the bench, you do 180. And I know you'll often want support Pokemon on the bench, which means you're going to actually not quite have 6, you'll have 4 or 5. I mean, look, it's an Ancient Pokemon, which means you can use Professor Sada's Vitality to accelerate energy to it, which means turn 1 going second, getting this rolling is really not that difficult, and then all of a sudden I'm hitting, 120, 150, maybe even 180, turn 1 going second. I legit love this card. But the Miraidon could be even better, because what it does 40 damage, and then accelerates 2 energy from your deck to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Now, importantly, it's from the deck, so you don't need to get the cards in your hand or the cards in your discard pile in order to actually accelerate them. You are attaching from your deck, which is obviously brilliant. But it also does 40 damage, but very much worth pointing out that this is a future Pokemon, so you can use Iron Crown EX to add 20 damage, and yes, that does stack. Or you can use Future Boost Energy Capsule to do an extra 20 damage, and all of a sudden you should be able to get up to 80 pretty easily, which is a magic number for KOing basic Pokemon that evolve and support Pokemon and all of that. So you should be taking cheeky little prizes while you're accelerating energy to your future Pokemon. It only accelerates to future Pokemon. And I think both of these cards are ridiculous. Getting stamped versions is awesome. But they're not the only ones available, because they've also given us, and it shouldn't surprise you, this is where they always do it, there are a couple of EXs available as well. And look, I love a good stamped card, okay? I've made no secret of that over the years. This is amongst the coolest stamp we've had. It's New Year Pikachu on the stamp. I want these cards so badly. I am probably going to end up just buying these from resellers because I love them. I don't know why. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I mean this very sincerely. These are my favorite stamped cards since that KFC promotion a couple of years ago. And if you remember, I did get those KFC cards. I wasn't lying to you. I adore these. Now, the Iron Crown is actually the one I mentioned a minute ago. It's the one that lets you do an extra 20 damage for all of your future Pokemon's attacks. And as I mentioned a second ago, yes, it does stack. It's really good. And then the Raging Bolt is one of my favourite cards we're going to be getting in Temporal Forces. It's an ancient Pokemon. It's my favourite of the ancient EXs, incidentally. And it's got an attack for 1 colourless energy on a basic, which means, yes, you can use it turn 1 going second, which lets you discard your hand and draw 6, which is brilliant. And then we've also got an attack that lets you discard as much energy from your ancient Pokemon as you like, dealing 70 damage for each one discarded. I legitimately love this. If nothing else, I really want the Koraidon, the Miraidon, and the Raging Bolt because they're amazing. Raging Bolt is a card I absolutely love and want to be building decks around. Now there's a cool traditional Chinese version with a New Year Pikachu stamp. And I mean it very sincerely when I say I love this promotion. I want these cards. They have picked very cool, very relevant, very, recent cards. And this is a really cool promotion with maybe the best stamp we've had. Certainly one of the coolest stamps we've had. So yeah, these are amazing. Now, those are the real highlight cards. Those are the 4 which I think people are going to be most after. But you know the way it goes with this. You get 1 random card. There are some that people want a lot more. And unfortunately, there are some that people want a bit less. And we have reached the part of the video where we should mention the ones that people do want a little bit less. There are 5 of them that are available, and they're still decent cards, don't get me wrong. It's just not quite the same. We've got ourselves a bunch of trainer cards, but then also double turbo energy. And look, double turbo energy is amazing. It's 2 colourless energy, and sure, it means your attacks do 20 less damage, which is not ideal, but it's 2 colourless energy. It sees a bunch of play because getting 2 colourless energy is amazing, and there's a little bit of a downside here. Double colourless energy itself isn't coming out. We're not getting double colourless energy. It's over. But you know what? This is still a cool card that sees a bunch of play, and this still has that same amazing Pikachu stamp. So, yeah, I'm kind of in on this. This seems fine by me. We also get ourselves Switch Cart. Now, Switch Cart is not a new card, but it is a very good card that sees a bunch of play. And by now, you'll notice that is very clearly what Pokemon are doing here. They are going, awesome. You know what? Let's give them some good cards that are seeing play. Switch Cart lets you switch your active basic Pokemon and heal 30 damage. It's really good. It's not a new card, incidentally. This one's been out for a while now, just like Double Turbo Energy. But it's also a very cool card that sees a bunch of play, and now there's a fancy version with the stamp, which is awesome. We've got Counter Catcher, which is a moderately new card. We got it in Paradox Rift. It's obviously a phenomenal card. Lets you gust on an item card if you're behind on prizes. It has made a big difference to the metagame in the short time it's been legal, and you should expect it to continue to make a difference to the metagame because it's a really good card. And then they've gone and given us 1 Ancient and 1 Future card as well, which I kind of love. They're leaning into it. They gave us Koraidon and Miraidon, 1 Future, 1 Ancient. They gave us Iron Crown and Raging Bolt EX, 1 Future, 1 Ancient. And then they're giving us 1 Ancient, 1 Future item card as well. They're giving us Earthen Vessel. Now, this is nominally an Ancient card, but remember, this is one that actually is just great for a whole bunch of decks, because it's discard a card from your hand, search for 2 basic energy. So it is nominally an Ancient card, don't get me wrong, it is an Ancient card. But let's not also forget that Ancient decks are the only ones that are going to be playing this. Let's not pretend that for a second. It's a very good card that sees a bunch of play. We've then got ourselves Techno Radar, which is actually a Future card. You discard a card from your hand and search for 2 Future Pokemon. This is both a designated future card, it's got the logo and everything, but it's also an actual future card in that you can technically play it outside of future decks if you really want to, but I don't see the point because it's not actually going to do you any good because it doesn't have any effect. So don't do it. It's a waste of a deck space. But technically you could. And I just love this, honestly. I think this is brilliant. I love that Pokemon have done this. And I'm extremely jealous. I think the New Year Pikachu stamp is one of the coolest stamps we've seen. And I think giving these away as promos is brilliant. I think they've chosen an excellent selection of cards. They have chosen cards that either have seen a bunch of play or are very likely to see a bunch of play. And I just think this is awesome. And I sincerely hope I'm able to get hold of some of these, especially Koraidon and Raging Bolt. Because look, I've told you I'm all in on ancient Pokemon. It's time to prove it. But that's what you need to know. That's a promotion, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me how excited you are. Tell me if you're going to be trying to hunt these down, and if so, which ones you're going to be going after. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Evan Parker, who's been a supporter of us for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.